Hey guys, this is Matt, and you're watching TV Punch for Monday, November 16th. And today I'm going to be talking about The Flash, Season 2, Episode 6, titled Enter Zoom. Now, this actually premiered last Tuesday on November 10th, and I'm crazy late with this video. I'm really sorry. Last week was pretty crazy. Got off track with everything. I'm going to try to get back on track this week. But I'm going to run through some quick hits, just a couple things I thought were cool, thought were worth mentioning, and then I'll run through the major plot points of this episode. So with that said, be careful for spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode yet, go pause this, go watch it, come back. You'll be glad you did. But quick hits, there was two things I want to mention. The first is apparently on Earth 2, Robert Queen is Green Arrow instead of Oliver Queen. Apparently Oliver Queen was killed on the Queen's Gambit instead of Robert Queen. This is a lot like how in the Flashpoint universe, Thomas Wayne is Batman instead of Bruce Wayne. So this was really cool to see. I wonder what other different combinations of characters and heroes there are. I don't know if we'll ever see any, but this was a really cool Easter egg. The vibrating voice is back. I was wondering where this went. It's kind of like Oliver with his voice modulator, how he didn't use it for a couple episodes and then he turned it back on. Barry turned on his vibrating voice again to talk to Linda, so that was kind of neat. So moving on to the major plot points in this episode, there's a couple of big ticket items that I want to hit on. And the first is that we learn a little bit more about Earth 2 Wells. So we learn a little bit more about his daughter, Jessie Quick. I actually made a note for Quick Hit saying, oh, he referred to her as my Jess, always so quick. But then I thought that was a neat Easter egg, but then he actually refers to her as Jessie Quick, which I didn't mention in last video, so I'm sorry for overlooking that. But yeah, she is going to be Jessie Quick, who is another speedster from the comics. I'm assuming she's going to get speed powers at some point, but we don't know yet how that's going to shake out. We haven't even seen her that much, but we do learn that she is very smart. She graduated high school at 15. And we also learned, we knew from last week that Zoom was holding her prisoner. So we learned this time around that he actually targeted her specifically. And maybe we were supposed to know that before, but it's kind of confirmed for us now. We know that he targeted her, but we don't know why. So I'm really interested in that. I don't know if maybe Zoom is holding her hostage because he blames Wells for creating the metahumans, which Wells is responsible. I don't know if he's really mad about that, or we don't know yet. Maybe she has latent speed powers and he wants to get them. We don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure. Team Flash wants to learn more about Wells. Barry is a little more trusting of him than Cisco and Caitlin, and that's kind of strange. But Cisco and Caitlin, they're on the fence. Cisco tries to vibe him, and through a couple of attempts, which are sort of humorous, he finally sees into Wells' life in Earth 2. He sees Jessie. He sees that she's being held by Zoom, and so he relays that information to Wells at the end of the episode. And so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. So the big point of this entire episode was it was all about Zoom. It was all about capturing Zoom, which is cool. But I really didn't love the way they went about it. And I'll go ahead and say this episode for me it definitely wasn't my favorite of the season. It's actually probably one of my least favorite of the season, just because of the way they did try to capture Zoom. So they decide that they're going to use Earth 1 Linda Park in Earth 2 Linda's Dr. Lightgear to stage a fight between her and Barry. They're going to make it look like she takes Barry down. Their idea is that Zoom's going to come through the portal, and that's when they're going to get him. That doesn't really work. And the lead up to that is, admittedly, I thought it was pretty ridiculous. So there's this whole training montage of Linda learning to use Dr. Light's, well, they're not her powers. Cisco rigs up a device to mimic her powers. And it's this whole montage of her learning to use that. So she's going through this warehouse, and you've seen it a million times in movies where something jumps out and she has to learn to not shoot the civilians, if you will, but only shoot the Flash. And there's a couple of fun moments, especially with Cisco in there, but I don't understand why she's training that way, because in the fight that they're staging, it's only the Flash that's going to be there. So why is she learning to not shoot one person? There's there's cardboard cutouts of Caitlin and Cisco and Joe, and why is she learning to not shoot them but only shoot the Flash? It didn't really make a lot of sense. It was overly comical, I thought. The staged fight on the pier between Linda and the Flash, I thought that was overly comical. It's no wonder that Zoom didn't come through the portal and nab them, because if he can see through the portals, which that doesn't really make much sense. It's very obvious that it was all staged, so it's no wonder that he didn't come through and their plan didn't go off like it was planned. Their plan was for Linda to capture the Flash and then rip off his emblem and throw it through the portal. All right. Well, why not just have Barry just take it off and throw it through the portal? I'm assuming, like I said, that Zoom can see through the portals. It just didn't. I'm kind of rambling. It didn't make a lot of sense. It was a little too silly. Like, we know the Flash has always been very lighthearted, especially compared to Arrow, but this was a little too much to that side. I didn't love it, and this actually it actually really kind of turned me off from this episode a lot. I hate to say that, but I didn't love it until the last 10 minutes, which is my third and final plot point, the Flash versus Zoom. This made up for everything else. I wish the lead up to it had been better, but the last 10 minutes, Flash versus Zoom, this was an epic battle. Barry, he's very confident. He thinks that he can beat Zoom, no problem. He gets his ass kicked, and it's a lot of fun to watch. He gets some good licks in. It's interesting to see how he tries to defeat Zoom. They run up the side of Star Labs. They use terminal velocity. He basically launches them both into the air so that when they're falling, they can't run and use super speed. So their speed is basically matched. And they explain all that in the episode. So that was really clever of Barry. But he is no match for Zoom at all. Zoom just beats him black and blue, which was it was actually really, really brutal, especially for the Flash. But it was really intense, really exciting. Afterwards, it was interesting because Zoom makes a point to drag the Flash's almost lifeless body around. He takes it to the paper that Iris works at. He takes it to the police station and holds the Flash up and says, "Here's your hero. He's not a god. He's no hero now. I'm the fastest man alive." He basically is grandstanding that he beat the Flash. It's very important to him that he shows everybody that he whooped the Flash big time. So this kind of throws a wrench into my theory of who Zoom is. So my theory is that it's Future Barry, or maybe Earth 2 Barry, or some combination of Earth 2 Future Barry. I don't really know. Based on what happened in the comics just recently, Future Barry donned a blue suit. He actually traveled back through time with the goal, ultimately, of killing present day Barry, because he realizes that, or he thinks that he is the cause for so much pain in the lives of those that he cares about. So he thinks, and in the future, he's basically hit rock bottom, and he realizes that the only way he can save all these people is for him to never have existed. So he travels back to present day in the attempt to kill present day Barry. And I kind of thought that that's the direction they were going with this until this episode, until Zoom made such a point of showing everybody that he beat the Flash. And that kind of changes my opinion somewhat. I'm keeping Future Barry / Earth 2 Barry, I'm kind of keeping him off to the side as a possible theory, but it really doesn't make much sense. The fact that he was doing all this grandstanding, it doesn't make much sense now. If he wanted to kill himself so that he would never have existed, why would he do all this in the first place? So I don't know at this point. There's a lot of theories out there. I do think it's going to be somebody we know. I don't have a good definitive answer at this point. It's like I said, especially after this episode, it kind of ruined my entire thought process about that. But the last thing that's revealed to us after this fight is that Barry can't feel his legs. So he's laying in a hospital bed in Star Labs. He's recovering. Thank goodness he heals quickly, but he can't feel his legs. What does the Flash do when he can't run? I don't know. I guess we're going to see next episode, which is all about Grodd. So that's going to be really great to see how he copes with that. Now, we've seen stills from the Flash Arrow crossover, and Barry is standing there with Oliver and Hawkman and Hawkgirl. I think Thea's there too, and Laurel's there. The whole gang's there, really. So we know he's standing again. And, of course, we got the Flash forward to 6 months from now in Arrow, and Barry comes zooming up to the cemetery. So we know he's going to get the use of his legs back, probably sooner rather than later, but I don't know how yet. I would be willing to say maybe his speed, his super healing just heals him in time. I don't really know, but we'll find out for sure. So I'm going to cover that as it happens, along with all the other cool shows that are coming out. I've got to catch up on Supergirl, and then after this, I'll be back on track with Arrow and the Flash and hopefully Supergirl after that. So to check all those videos out, be sure to subscribe by clicking the button below. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you can check it out on youtube.com/nerdpunch. You can also follow us on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, all of those /nerdpunch. And you can check us out on nerdpunch.com, where we are posting other cool stuff that we see online, and it's a great place to check our schedule for upcoming videos. We've been doing a lot of fun gameplay streaming lately. Thursday nights we're live streaming, and usually on the weekends too, we're live streaming some games. So if you're into that, come check us out. We have a lot of fun. But thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, I'll talk to you later. See ya.